Welcome, everyone. This is SatiSeva, an affinity, a group associated with Recovery Dharma, whose mission is to reimagine recovery and support using the practices of mindfulness. Today's sentiment of metta, of loving kindness, is this one. May what scares you be the place to practice honesty. May what scares you be the place to practice honesty. I invite you to close your eyes and just allow that sentiment to roll around your mind. I want you to know that there was a time in my life where if somebody had said to me, Julia, you don't have to be so scared. You don't have to be afraid. As a matter of fact, I can pull up a somewhat recent scenario. So it was during the pandemic, when the pandemic was first coming into our awareness in 2020, and I was pretty freaked out. And I remember somebody saying to me, Julia, why are you so scared? You don't have to be so scared. And my first response, it was really a reaction. My first reaction was defensiveness. I'm not scared. I'm worried. I'm anxious, but I'm not scared. How dare you, say that? How dare you accuse me? And then I took a moment to go, wow, okay, Julia, would you look at that? Let's look at this. Let's practice. May what scares me be a place for me to practice. Practice what? How about some deep looking? Why did this make me so defensive? Why did I feel like I had to push this person's comment and observation away from me at arm's length? And by extension, why did I feel like I had to push this person away and keep them at arm's length? Second, what is it about being scared that I judge to be so negative that I don't want to be it? I certainly don't want to appear scared to others. What's the story there? What's behind all the defense? And I remember looking at my resistance to be labeled fearful or afraid or scared. And I realized that part of the defense was because I was being accused. And the accusation and the energy and the motivation behind that accusation was to cut me down, to make me small, to diminish my experience, to dismiss it. Here's this big scary thing called the pandemic, a global pandemic, a very scary virus that we know nothing about. Julia, what's the matter with you? Why are you so scared? What are you? Silly little girl. Yow. And so then I had to look at that arising, the feeling of fear. And I remembered that this is my nervous system. Thank goodness. This is my healthy, sympathetic nervous system going into alarm. There's something going on in the world that is causing a very, very serious medical crisis in thousands of people all at once, tens of thousands of people all at once. There is reason to be afraid. And there is reason to resist these certain accusations. May what scares you be a place to practice honesty. And the thing that I also explored is my judgment that I have toward fearful people, highly anxious people, nervous Nellies. And just even look at the language I chose there. It's very dismissive. It's patronizing. It isn't particularly kind, is it? People are scared for all the reasons people get scared, some of which I will never understand. I will never know. Who am I to judge? And so not only did that single situation encourage me to look at my own reactivity and to get a better handle on why I was being so reactive and defensive, it also empowered me to be with my fear and to acknowledge I have a right to be fearful. And right next to it, I can activate and express my courage, especially on behalf of anyone who doesn't have that capacity, who gets scared and shuts down, who has an anxious arising and just collapses. They don't know how to be courageous quite yet. Maybe their life has been one trauma after another, and their nervous system is still healing. Their nervous system is in the state of exhaustion. And wouldn't it be grand if someone could be with them courageously, encouragingly, nurturingly, and so on? So that is who I aspire to be. That is who I practice to become. And we're all invited to do this in our own way and in our own time. So may what scares you be a place to practice honesty, compassion, loving kindness, joy, freedom. Today, friends, we're going to listen to a wonderful Sangha member read from the first chapter of the SatiSeva Reimagining Recovery and Support book. And this is a mindfulness practice. We begin with awareness, the cultivation of awareness. It is truly the foundation of everything. Without awareness, we're unconscious to our lives. With awareness, that is the fertile soil into which we can plant curiosity and wonder, acceptance, and so on. The section we're going to listen to today is all about resistance, the way it is so human to resist the wonder of being here, the full spectrum of ourselves as human beings. It's so hard for me to sometimes accept that as courageous as I am, I'm fearful. As calm and confident as I am, I'm really insecure and full of doubt sometimes. As smart and wise as I aspire to be, I'm easily caught in the swirl of ignorance, and I resist all of it. When you look at that, it's curious, isn't it? So let's listen to him share a little bit about what is resistance? What does it mean beside this precious, wonderful human life, nestled under the gaze of this glorious cosmos? Take it away, Michael.
Resistance. In response to this dichotomy, spiritual traditions recognize that the human condition includes struggle, hardship, and dissatisfaction. In a word, suffering. As human beings living in a topsy-turvy universe, we are destined to have something happen in our lives that we neither like nor want. Awareness remembers we are not alone. We share in the discomfort and suffering with others, in part due to our inability to be with life as it is, especially when that isness feels negative. Because we struggle to authentically acknowledge the harsher realities of our lives, such as illness, confusion, trauma, and death, we develop habit energy of resistance. This can manifest as thoughts and efforts to force life to be the way we think it should be, rather than accepting or being with how things are. Can you blame anyone for doing this? Some aspects of life are so miserable and bewildering. Who wants to be with all of that? There are many rational and misguided reasons for people to resist the circumstances of their lives. Honoring the sacredness of life insists that we learn to support and love one another through whatever we are enduring. Awareness encourages us to examine our reactive judgments about how we all cope. There is no human being on earth who will not resist an upheaval at some time or another. Resistance is simply part of being human. My question is, how successful is it? Does it really work? I believe that sometimes it does, which only reinforces habit energy. However, it seems to me that the more we resist certain situations in our lives, the more life presents those conditions to us, trying to get our attention and wake us up. You know the slogan, what you resist persists. You can probably buy it somewhere printed on a board, mug, or a notepad, or on one of Julia's stickers, maybe. I have something within me that is incredibly stubborn and resistant by nature. I want what I want, when I want it, in the way that I think it should be. When I don't get it, I'm not happy. Some immature part of my ego is convinced that life should be perfectly okay and happy all the time. And if it isn't, either I'm doing something wrong or something is wrong with life that needs fixing. My mind knows this is not true, but it also has all kinds of stories telling me it should be. As a result, I suffer. I'm dissatisfied. I feel uncomfortable, and in response to that, I resist even more. I do all kinds of things to distract and soothe myself, trying to make myself feel better. Then, one day, I'm so worn down by resisting the challenges of life, I find myself in a posture of surrender.
Beautiful. Thank you for finding the typo. Did you mark that low? All right. We're always looking out for the typos, friends. Oh, so good. I want what I want when I want it in the way that I think it should be. I want myself to be the way that I want myself to be, the way that I think I should be. I want you to be the way that I want you to be, the way that I think you should be. Me. Wow, it's a lot. One of the ways that I have learned to work with my resistance is to imagine a statue of the Buddha. Many of you have probably already seen one, and it's of a great big giant Buddha belly, and the Buddha is laughing because that's life sometimes, isn't it? Just poking fun, giggling over my absurdity, my ego, my I-ness. Life is like, oh, really, Julia? You think it should be the way you think it should be? Ha 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 ha. Well, let me show you how I think it's going to be, says life. And it's so hard to laugh at that when what's happening isn't pleasant, it's painful, it's tragic, it's confusing, it hurts, it's unfair. And this is where the sages of all time continue to remind us that the nature of reality is neutral. It's fair and unfair. It's good and bad. It's controlled and out of control. It's up and down. It's this and that or that. And if we're looking at it from dualistic terms, it's either this or it's that. We're going to create a lot of space for resistance because we're focused on one side or the other. And the nature of reality says, good luck with that. Because really, it's always a combination of both. So that's what we are invited to explore. And this is easier said than done because we live in a mythology. We live in an environment that's defined by a mythology for centuries that has tried to create a governance that is good versus evil, right versus wrong. Life is the good thing, death is the bad thing. Eastern philosophy does not do this. That is one of its greatest distinctions. Is it recognizes the dualistic nature, that interplay between pairs of opposites, the resistance, the turmoil, the back and forth, the polarity. And it encourages something else. Look beyond the resistance, acknowledge the resistance, be aware of it. Where are you holding back? Where are you pushing away? Where are you holding on too tightly? Look at the conditions of each of those things and then see if you can find something else. And this shows up in so many aspects of our lives. Over the holidays, it was kind of stressful for me. And I remember thinking about wanting to do some things to soothe me. And I remember thinking about a long time ago, I had this wonderful memory come forward where I was in Scotland. And this is when I was a much younger woman. And I remember having a coffee in a pub with this whiskey mixed into it and a little bit of cream. And it was so yummy on a very cold, wet Scottish day. And that memory, I had this thought of, oh, yeah, that would be so good. That would really soothe my being. And then I was like, wait, what? No, I haven't had anything like that in 20 something years. Why would I think that's soothing? And then the fascinating thing about it was there was a little bit of curiosity there. Look at the conditions of that, Julia. Why would you think that's soothing? But quickly, right after that, I went into admonishment. Julia, what's wrong with you? You're not drinking alcohol. That's a problem. Why do you think you need to soothe yourself anyway? I thought you were past all that. There's the resistance. And it's quick, at least for me. So I took a moment with myself and I did something in my body. I enacted something in my body that was really helpful. And I'd like to share that with you today. And it's an enactment. It's very, very simple for me in my body to recognize pairs of opposites, duality, how they come together in order for me to experience something new. So I hold out my left palm, palm facing up. And you can close your eyes or turn your camera off or whatever you want to do. Nobody's watching. Now, in my body and in your body too, my left palm and this action is controlled by the right side of my brain. And all of this signaling, all of this neural connection is going on almost instantaneously. In a blink of an eye, I send the message to my hand to open up, palm up, and that's all lighting up and happening on the right side of my brain. So already in my body, I've got pairs of opposites working in communion so that my body can function. Working with opposites is sacred and brings wholeness. Then I open up my right palm, facing up into the universe. And this motion is produced, lights up the left hemisphere of my brain. Amazing. Amazing. This biological design, pairs of opposites working together. And I just let the weight of the universe rest in my hands. And look at how strong I am holding up my little world right here in this space. On the one hand, in my left hand, let's say I need soothing. And in my right hand, I'm looking for creative ways to soothe my mind and heart. I don't want to turn to alcohol. I don't want to turn to food. I don't want to turn to distraction on social media. I don't really want to create anything or read anything. I just need something in this moment to bring myself a sense of soothing nurturance. So then I bring my hands together very slowly, almost like capturing the energy of the universe. And I'm going to spread my fingers out a little bit and wiggle my fingers as my hands come together. And I'm keeping my eyes closed and I'm just going to let my fingertips touch. I'm not going to let the center of my palms touch. And very gently, I'm just going to bring the tips of my fingers together. And golly, I don't know about you, but it's electric. Just the slightest touch. I'm so keenly aware of it. And now I'm going to press my fingertips together, bring my fingers a little bit closer together, but I'm not going to allow the palms of my hands to touch, but I am going to bring the base of my hands together. And I'm kind of creating a little, I don't even know what you would call this, but it's like a little opening here in my hands, just so air can flow through. This is how I bring my need to soothe, my need to accept, my creative opportunities to soothe myself. I bring it all to come together. And then I rest this at the level of my heart. and I breathe. And my mantra over and over and over again is this: breathing in, I don't feel okay. Breathing out, I am okay. Breathing in, I don't feel okay. Breathing out, I am okay. Breathing in, both can be true at the same time. Breathing out, because I'm a whole human being. And then I just get really quiet, friends, for a moment, and I feel the pressure in my hands. I feel the resistance. I feel the acceptance. I just let it all exist in this moment of my awareness. I'm going to bring my hands down now and allow them to rest on my lap. And for the next several moments of silence, as we've settled into the body, noticed and acknowledged the way the body habitus works in pairs of opposites. Now we can extend that out a little bit and observe thoughts and stories and allow a situation of resistance, allow some pairs of opposites to arise in our awareness, and see if we can, see if you can, and I'm going to do this as well, bring a little curiosity to it. I want something the way that I want it, the way I think it should be. It's happening outside of that definition. I don't like it. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm resisting it. Can I get curious about it? Can I start asking some questions? Why do I think it needs to be the way I think it needs to be? Why do I feel like I need to control it or this person? What am I not seeing clearly? What am I seeing clearly and not liking? Can I accept that? Allow your own wisdom to speak. Ask questions, get curious, and enjoy these moments of awareness. Friends, I've known people in my life who have said things like, I hate meditation. I hate being quiet in my mind. I hate spending time just by myself. I hate it. It's awful. It's miserable. The last thing I want to do is get to know my own mind and heart. Much rather stay busy and distracted doing other things. I remember subscribing to that way of being at one time in my younger years. And I remember being really miserable. And I remember being really miserable when I first started to get to know myself. It was horrifying. It was so hard. It was very painful. And there are times that it continues to be really challenging. It's scary. It's scary to stand before so much unskillfulness, so much confusion, and admit it. Admit all of that, acknowledge all of that. And then it, for me anyway, it became this wonderful ingredient, this additional material to work with to help me change and modify and reshape myself and soften my heart and open my mind and see from completely new angles and remember that I am part of something I can't even fathom. I am part of an evolutionary chain, an evolution of magic, really, all born from dying stars. I am that. You are that. We are that. And to sit with it, to look at it, including the stuff that's scary, is an act of not only bravery, but love. We were created for this. And what a privilege to share in this creation. So we can integrate this practice. Today, I want to thank you all for your beautiful sharings. I want to thank you for taking in the idea of wholeness, remembering that we have this spectrum of emotion, of experience, of thought, of story, of conditioning, of embodiment. And that spectrum includes pairs of opposites. How do we stay supple in finding the momentary balance? How do we stand before the momentary balance? It is a moment. And yet, that moment can give us a clue, give us some indication of an infinite moment. That single moment can be sustaining for so much, in other words, but it's just a moment. How can we be in that moment nice and supple? Because we're going to get out of that moment and then we're going to get back into it. And then we're going to get out of it and then back in. I was listening to a Zen master whose name escapes me at the moment. But he said that there were three things that we ought to think about all the time. And the first is laughing, the second is living, and the third is dying. Laughing, living, dying. And we can do all of it in a moment. We can die to old patterns of thinking and behaving. We can therefore live in a whole new way, and we can laugh at our stumbles, at our insights. It was really profound wisdom. I was also listening to a Shaolin master who was talking about how the present moment is the moment in which we can heal the past. And the past isn't just our own, the past is also the legacy of our parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, and so on. And all of that history, all of that lineage, all of their friends, all of their experiences, everything can come alive in this moment. And we have the power, the capacity, the capability, the wisdom, the insight, all of it to heal it. So that what we put into the future is a little less misery, a little more beauty, a little more restored wonder. What an invitation. We can get there through practice. And so I want to thank you for bringing your practice today. We meet again on the third Sunday of this month, where we'll continue this exploration of awareness. The section that we're going to read in the mindfulness chapter of awareness is called, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's one of my favorite things. It's called Awareness, Awareness, Awareness. And if that wasn't clear enough, it's about awareness. So I'll read a couple of paragraphs of that. Stay tuned. You can stick around. We're going to have Recovery Dharma at 1 o'clock. We're going to explore SatiSeva. Remember that Mondays we have meditation at 8:30 in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30. You can sign up for that. You can also sign up for a silent retreat that we're doing in March. Check out our website and our recordings. Email me with any questions or concerns. If you'd like to purchase the SatiSeva book, you can do so on our website or wherever books are sold. Please consider, if you feel up to it, please consider leaving a review on Amazon or Goodreads or wherever reviews of books are placed. It really does help bring attention to this book. And we would be so grateful. That would be a very generous thing to do. And let's end our practice today with a dedication of merit. And I'd like to remind everybody of just bringing your hands back together in that really gentle way. Allow your left hand and the palm facing up, right hand, palm facing up, and just for a moment, allow them to rest and receive the weight of the world. And then slowly turn the hands forward together, facing each other, and then slowly, slowly. It's fun to do this with your eyes closed. Just trust your insight and bring your fingertips together. Feel that energy. And just very lightly touch your fingers and notice. Notice the harmony of opposites. Notice the balance that you have, bringing the two sides of the body together, dictated by opposite sides in the brain. It's just extraordinary. And it's really meaningful when you turn off your sight. You deprive yourself of your vision a little bit, and yet you can trust a different way of seeing. And just pause here a moment and know that your efforts to transcend and transform yourself are not for you alone. They ripple out into the world and they affect every single person you encounter, even if you're not aware. You are the embodiment of radiance. And may your radiance warm someone. May you nurture someone. May your radiance touch someone. May it open their heart and their mind. May it soften their heart and mind. May it tap into inspiration to keep you encouraged to keep going. Thank you, friends. Beautiful practice, beautiful day, beautiful you. Namaste.